The Zelda series has some interesting and well-designed bosses. One of them is Majora's Mask. But what do we know about him in terms of story? Why do people love Majora so much? And what makes this boss great in terms of game design? Well, we're going to do a full analysis to find out why it's such a fan favorite. Alright, let's start with the way they introduce him and build a story around him. You need to have some context and motivation after all. It starts off with Link being attacked by the fairies of Skull Kid, who has been possessed by Majora's Mask. He then steals Link's horse and we get into an entire chase scene. So the introduction to this big villain is quite crude. After this, Link ends up in a world known as Termina, and here the adventure begins. Now, the build-up towards the final battle is very good, mostly because of one thing: the big moon that's gonna crash into the world if Link doesn't stop Majora. This especially has an impact on you after you get to know the people of the land and start to care for them. You want to save them, and throughout your adventure you see more reasons to stop Majora, since he has done many more evil deeds. So this is essentially your build-up to the fight. But what is the story behind Majora? What do they tell you about that? Well, he is first introduced after the Happy Mask salesman removes the curse that was placed on Link by the Skull Kid. The salesman explains that the mask is an ancient artifact that was used by an ancient tribe for its bewitching rituals. But the mask's wicked power became so great that it was sealed away to prevent a great catastrophe. However, since the ancient tribe vanished, no one accurately knows the true nature of its power. The salesman fears the great devastation that could befall Termina if the mask is not taken back from the Skull Kid. Now, a lot of people wanted to know who this ancient tribe was. Who made Majora's Mask? Well, there are two options. First, the Twilight, also known as the interlopers from Twilight Princess. This is because of the similarities between the eyes of Majora's Mask and their artifact, the Fused Shadow. This is possible because the interlopers were an ancient tribe that excelled in dark magic that was later banished from Hyrule by the gods. This is also supported due to the fact that the Twilight, who are the residents of the Twilight Realm, appear to use masks quite often. When Link first gets the Ordon shield, Midna attempts to wear it on her face. And during the cutscene in Twilight Princess, in which Princess Zelda surrenders, Zen's bodyguards are wearing special metal masks over their faces. The second option is that the tribe who made it is from Hyrule, a parallel world similar to Hyrule. Majora's Mask makes a cameo appearance in The Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds as a decorative item in Link's house. However, one interpretation is that Hyrule, Hyrule's dark counterpart, is the very place of the origin of the mask itself. Thi's town is home to a cult secretly formed by Princess Hilda to provide some manner of hope in a bleak world, all of whose members wear masks. It is possible that this is a remnant of the hexing tribe that created Majora's Mask to begin with. However, that's the only thing going for it. So it's most likely that the interlopers from Twilight Princess have something to do with this. Besides that, in the new Hyrule Encyclopedia, they now label Termina as a dream world instead of a parallel world. And with this, they explain its origin. It was created by Skull Kid using Majora's power. His and Link's memories and experiences are what formed Termina's legends and the people of Termina. And once Link left, Termina ceased to exist. They even use him to explain the origins of the world now. On the other hand, a sad thing, but also something new and exciting. There are a lot of theories and other things debunked because of it. However, it opens the door to new possibilities. So look at it from the bright side. Maybe in the future I will go into this specific subject even more, since there's a lot to look at. So after all of this, seeing the destruction and damage Majora has caused, hearing about its story and the possible ties it has, it is finally time for the final showdown. In the game, they did a fantastic job of building tension and hype for this final showdown. You care about the world and looked into its story, so you're ready for the next step. Now for the final battle, Majora goes inside of the moon. the thing he has been using to threaten everyone for the entire game. It's like you're going inside of the mind of Majora, which is an interesting twist. It offers some more insight on his personality, and I like that. Link finds 4 lunar children running around a big tree, with a single child sitting alone at the base of the tree, all of which are wearing masks. 4 are wearing the boss remains that Link cleansed from the 4 temples around Termina, while the 5th one wears Majora's mask. So a bit of a creepy vibe. Yet again, fitting for what the player knows about him. He remains a shady and mysterious being. Now on to the actual boss fight. In the first phase, Majora will float around the room hovering in mid-air. Every so often, it will turn to lay flat and begin spinning in place rapidly, then launch itself towards Link to attack. So in the beginning, he's extremely basic. You just have to hit his back, since this will stun him, and then just attack. It's kind of disappointing to have this as a first phase, since you see him do all kinds of insane things in the game, and when you fight him, you get this. The only thing that can make this form a bit difficult is the other boss masks that attack you. This can be extremely annoying. Luckily enough, the next phase presents a bit more of a challenge. After the mask form is defeated, it loses its tentacles and grows a set of arms and legs, as well as a tiny, one-eyed head with horns. Now he will run around the room, pausing every now and then to perform a variety of dances like the moonwalk, or to make taunting gestures at Link. Its only attack is a rapid-fire barrage of energy bolts it fires from its hands. So yet again, a bit of a wacky form. To take it out, you just have to hit him, nothing special. Now at this point, you will most likely think, why is he so easy? We saw him crash a giant moon into the world. Heck, he even created the entire world. So why is he so weak and basic? Well, that's because it's part of the theme of the entire battle. These beginning forms aren't that hard and a bit childish in behavior, because Majora is taunting you. Throughout the game, he has seen all of this as a fun game. You can clearly see that, and even in the final boss fight, he acts like this. Clearly, with this boss, with this entire villain, they wanted to create a specific character, which has a bit of a sick and twisted way of handling things. Now they did this very well, and we also see this in the boss fight, but in this last form, we finally get some true difficulty. After the final scream from Majora's incarnation is heard, it stands up to assume its final form. Its muscles then begin to throb and inflate into a more humanoid shape. Whip-like tentacles also shoot out from its hands, and a new head bursts forth from its neck, becoming Majora's Wrath. So now he takes on a more powerful form and starts to get serious, which is cool, but it would have been better if this happened a bit earlier. It's a final boss after all. To defeat him, Link must use a projectile weapon to stun it while it's immobile, then strike it with a light arrow or sword. It often jumps from one side of the arena to the other, and its attacks are fast-hitting but slow to wind up, giving Link a window of opportunity to attack. He will throw all kinds of whip combos at you, and even throwing spinning tops that will do damage. So clearly this one has a bit more depth, different tactics, and things you need to keep in mind, which was needed very much. Here you have to focus more, which can throw you off a bit, since all the other forms didn't really require this. It shows how unexpected Majora can be. Overall, they nailed the character section, but the combat is lacking. The first 2 forms are just too simple and basic, but the last one is challenging and forces you to pay attention. Another thing which makes the last form better is the whips. They have a long range, so you have to keep your distance. This way you can't rush him and keep hitting him until it's over. Sure, there's a bug where you can do that, but that's mostly a speedrunning thing. The attacks of Majora's Wrath also work well together, since the spinning tops will create a distraction and chaos, which will make it harder to focus on the boss. The jumping around also makes it harder to get to him to even cause damage. So overall, one of the better parts of the fight. So altogether, Majora's Mask is introduced a bit hasty, however the story, feeling and everything else built around him is very well executed. He's an interesting character, and throughout the game you get more motivated to take him out. However, the final fight is a bit of a bummer. The first 2 forms could be better, but at least it reflects his character. Hey everyone, tell me what you think of this new series by voting in the upper right corner right now. I would love to know what you thought about this video, so let me know. Thanks for watching everybody, I hope we hit 100k. Thank you everyone, you are all amazing, 100k. Balloon poppers, editor, hit the switch, woo! Party, thank you all, you are all amazing.